Ursa Minor, also known as the Little Bear, is a constellation in the northern sky. Like the Great Bear, the tail of the Little Bear may also be seen as the handle of a ladle, hence the North American name, Little Dipper. 7 stars with 4 in its bowl like its partner of the Big Dipper. It was one of the 48 constellations listed by the 2nd century astronomer Ptolemy, and remains one of the 88 in modern constellations. Ursa Minor has traditionally been important for navigation, particularly by mariners, because of Polaris being the North Star. Polaris, the brightest star in the constellation, is a yellow-white supergiant and the brightest Cepheid variable star in the night sky, ranging from an apparent magnitude of 1.97 to 2.00. Beta Ursa Minor, also known as Kochab, is an aging star that has swollen and cooled to become an orange giant with an apparent magnitude of 2.08, only slightly fainter than Polaris. Kochab in magnitude 3 Gamma Ursa Minoris have been called the guardians of the Polestar. Planets have been detected orbiting 4 of the stars, including Kochab. The constellation also contains an isolated neutron star Calvera, and H1504+65, the hottest white dwarf yet discovered, with a surface temperature of 200,000 K. History and mythology. In the Babylonian star catalogues, Ursa Minor was known as Ma, Gid, Da, and Na, the wagon of heaven, Damkiana. It appeared on a pair of tablets containing canonical star lists that were compiled around 1000 BC. The mul happened, and was one of the stars of Enlil, that is, the northern sky. The possible origin of its name was its appearing to rotate like a wheel around the north celestial pole. The first mention of Ursa Minor in Greek texts was by philosopher Thales of Miletus in the 6th century BC. He pointed out that it was a more accurate guide to finding true north than Ursa Major. This knowledge had reportedly come from the Phoenicians in the eastern Mediterranean, and the constellation bore the term Phoenite. Homer had previously only referred to one bear, raising the question of what he saw the stars of Ursa Minor as, or whether they were recognized as a constellation at all. Ursa Minor and Ursa Major were related by the Greeks to the myth of Callisto and her son Archias, both placed in the sky by Zeus. In a variant of the story in which Boots represents Archias, Ursa Minor represents a dog. This is the older tradition, which explains both the length of the tail and the obsolete alternate name of Cynosura for Polaris, the North Star. Cynosura is also described as a nurse of Zeus, honored by the god with a place in the sky. An alternate myth tells of 2 bears that saved Zeus from his murderous father Kronos by hiding him on Mount Ida. Later Zeus set them in the sky, but the tails grew long from being swung by the god. Because Ursa Minor consists of 7 stars, the Latin word for north is septetrio, from septimum trionis, from 7 oxen driving a plough, which the 7 stars also resemble. This name has also been attached to the main stars of Ursa Major. Ursa Minor has traditionally been important for navigation, particularly by mariners, because of Polaris being the North Star. Polaris is currently less than 1 degree away from the north celestial pole, so its position in the sky is largely unaffected by the rotation of the Earth. From any point in the northern hemisphere, the direction to Polaris is always north, and its angular altitude is roughly equal to the latitude. In Inuit astronomy, the 3 brightest stars, Polaris, Kochab and Picard, were known as Nuchatit, never moving, though the term is more frequently used in the singular to refer to Polaris alone. The Polestar is too high in the sky at far northern latitudes to be of use in navigation. Characteristics. Ursa Minor is bordered by Camelopardalis to the west, Draco to the west, and Cepheus to the east, covering 256 square degrees. It ranks 56th of the 88 constellations in size. Ursa Minor is colloquially known in the U.S. as the Little Dipper because its 7 brightest stars seem to form the shape of a dipper. The star at the end of the dipper handle is Polaris. Polaris can also be found by following a line through the 2 stars, Alpha and Beta Ursae Majoris, that form the end of the bowl of the Big Dipper. For 30 degrees across the night sky, the 4 stars constituting the bowl of the Little Dipper are of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th magnitudes, and provide an easy guide to determining what magnitude stars are visible, useful for city dwellers at testing one's eyesight. The 3-letter abbreviation for the constellation, as adopted by the IAU in 1922, UMI. The official constellation boundaries, as set by Eugene Delport in 1930, are defined by a polygon of 22 segments. In the equatorial coordinate system, the right ascension coordinates of these borders lie between 08h 41.4 meters and 22 hours 54.0 minutes, while the declination coordinates range from the north celestial pole south to 65.40 degrees. Its position in the far northern celestial hemisphere means that the whole constellation is only visible to observers in the northern hemisphere. Features: stars. The German cartographer Johann Bayer used the Greek letters alpha to theta to label the most prominent stars in the constellation, while his countryman Johann Bode subsequently added iota to phi. Only lambda and pi remain in use, likely because of the proximity to the north celestial pole. Within the constellation's borders, there are 39 stars brighter than or equal to apparent magnitude 6.5, marking the Little Bear's tail. Polaris, or Alpha Ursae Minoris, is the brightest star in the constellation, varying between apparent magnitude 1.97 and 2.00 over a period of 3.97 days. Located around 432 light-years away from Earth, it is a yellow-white supergiant that varies between spectral types F7 Nib and F8 Ib, and has around 6 times the Sun's mass, 2,500 times its luminosity, and 45 times its radius. Polaris is the brightest Cepheid variable star visible from Earth. It is a triple star system, a supergiant primary star having 2 yellow-white main sequence star companions that are 17 and 2,400 astronomical units distant and take 29.6 and 42,000 years respectively to complete one orbit. Traditionally called Kochab, Beta Ursae Minoris at apparent magnitude 2.08 is only slightly less bright than Polaris. Located around 131 light-years away from Earth, it is an orange giant, an evolved star that has used up the hydrogen in its core and moved off the main sequence of spectral type K4II. Slightly variable over a period of 4.6 days, Kochab has had its mass estimated at 1.3 times that of the Sun via measurement of these oscillations. Kochab is 450 times more luminous than the Sun and has 42 times its diameter, with a surface temperature of approximately 4,130 K, estimated to be around 2.95 billion years old, give or take 1 billion year. Kochab was announced to have a planetary companion around 6.1 times as massive as Jupiter with an orbit of 522 days. Traditionally known as Focard, Gamma Ursae Minoris has an apparent magnitude that varies between 3.04 and 3.09 roughly every 3.4 hours. It and Kochab have been termed the guardians of the Polestar, a white bright giant giant of spectral type A3II, with around 4.8 times the Sun's mass, 1050 times its luminosity and 15 times its radius. It is 487 ± 8 light-years distant from Earth. The card belongs to a class of stars known as delta Scuti variables, short-period pulsating stars that have been used as standard candles and as subjects to study astroseismology. Also possibly a member of this class is Eta Ursae Minoris, a white star of spectral type A3V, which has begun cooling, expanding and brightening. It is likely to have been a B3 main sequence star and is now slightly variable. At magnitude 4.95, the dimmest of the 7 stars of the Little Dipper is Eta Ursae Minoris, a yellow-white main sequence star of spectral type F5V. It is 97 light-years distant. It is double the Sun's diameter, 1.4 times as massive, and shines with 7.4 times its luminosity. Nearby Zeta lies 5.0 magnitude Theta Ursae Minoris, located 860 ± 80 light-years distant. It is an orange giant of spectral type K5II that has expanded and cooled off the main sequence, and has an estimated diameter around 4.8 times that of the Sun, making up the handle of the Little Dipper. Delta and Epsilon Ursae Minoris, just over 3.5 degrees from the north celestial pole. Delta is a white main sequence star of spectral type A1V with an apparent magnitude of 4.35, located 172 ± 1 light-years from Earth. Bearing the proper name of Yielder, it has around 2.8 times the diameter and 47 times the luminosity of the Sun. A triple star system, Epsilon Ursae Minoris shines with a combined average light of magnitude 4.22. A yellow giant of spectral type G5II. The primary is an Rs Canum Venaticorum variable star. It is a spectroscopic binary, with a companion 0.36 astronomical units distant, and a third star, an orange main sequence star of spectral type K0 to 8100 astronomical units distant. Located close to Polaris is Lambda Ursae Minoris, a red giant of spectral type M1II. It is a semi-regular variable varying from magnitude 6.35 to 6.45. The northerly nature of the constellation means that the variable stars can be observed all year. The red giant R Ursae Minoris is a semi-regular variable varying from magnitude 8.5 to 11.5 over 328 days, while S Ursae Minoris is a long-period variable that ranges between magnitudes 8.0 and 11 over 331 days. Located south of Cochabamba towards Draco is R Ursae Minoris, a red giant of spectral type M5II that is also a semi-regular variable ranging from magnitude 4.44 to 4.85 over a period of 43.3 days. T Ursae Minoris is another red giant variable star that has undergone a dramatic change in status, from being a long-period variable ranging from magnitude 7.8 to 15 over 310 to 315 days to a semi-regular variable. The star is thought to have undergone a shell helium flash, a point where the shell of helium around the star's core reaches a critical mass and ignites, marked by its abrupt change in variability in 1979. Z Ursae Minoris is a faint variable star that suddenly dropped 6 magnitudes in 1992 and was identified as one of a rare class of stars, R Coronae Borealis variables. Eclipsing variables are star systems that vary in brightness because of one star passing in front of the other rather than from any intrinsic change in luminosity. Ursa Minor is one such system, its magnitude ranging from 8.51 to 9.59 over 1.7 days. The combined spectrum of the system is A2V, but the masses of the two component stars are unknown. A slight change in the orbital period in 1973 suggests there is a third component of the multiple star system, most likely a red dwarf, with an orbital period of 62.2 plus or minus 3.9 years. Ursa Minor is another example, ranging from 10 to 10.66 over 0.52 days. It is a semi-detached system, as the secondary star is filling its Roche lobe and transferring matter to the primary. Ursa Minor is a cataclysmic variable star system that flared up as a nova in 1956, reaching magnitude 6. In 2003, it was still 2 magnitudes brighter than its baseline, and dimming at a rate of 0.02 magnitude a year. Its distance has been calculated as 5,000 plus or minus 800 parsecs, which puts its location in the galactic halo, taken from the villain in The Magnificent Seven. Calvira is the nickname given to an X-ray source known as 1RxSJ141256.0 plus 792,204 in the ROSAT All-Sky Survey Bright Source Catalog. It has been identified as an isolated neutron star, one of the closest of its kind to Earth. Ursa Minor has 2 enigmatic white dwarfs. H1504 plus 65 is a faint starlet with the hottest surface temperature, 200,000 K, yet discovered for a white dwarf. Its atmosphere, composed of roughly half carbon, half oxygen and 2% neon, is devoid of hydrogen and helium. Its composition unexplainable by current models of stellar evolution. WD 1337 plus 705 is a cooler white dwarf that has magnesium and silicon in its spectrum, suggesting a companion, a circumstellar disk, though no evidence for why that has come to light. Minus 1.3 light-years away from Earth, a faint object of magnitude 14. It was discovered by the Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer in 2011. Beside 3 more stellar systems have been discovered to contain planets. 11 Ursa Minor is an orange giant of spectral type K4II, around 1.8 times as massive as the Sun. Around 1.5 billion years old, it has cooled and expanded since it was an A-type main sequence star. Around 390 light-years distant, it shines with an apparent magnitude of 5.04. A planet around 11 times the mass of Jupiter was discovered orbiting the star with a period of 516 days in 2009. HD 120,084 is another evolved star, this time a yellow giant of spectral type G7II, around 2.4 times the mass of the Sun. It has a planet 4.5 times the mass of Jupiter with one of the most eccentric planetary orbits, discovered by precisely measuring the radial velocity of the star in 2013. HD 150,706 is a Sun-like star of spectral type GOV, some 89 light-years distant from the Solar System. It was thought to have a planet as massive as Jupiter at a distance of 0.6 astronomical units, but this was discounted in 2007. A further study published in 2012 showed that it has a companion around 2.7 times as massive as Jupiter that takes around 16 years to complete an orbit and is 6.8 astronomical units distant from its Sun. Deep sky objects. Ursa Minor is rather devoid of deep sky objects. The Ursa Minor dwarf, a dwarf spheroidal galaxy, was discovered by Albert George Wilson of the Lowell Observatory in the Palomar Sky Survey in 1955. Its center is around 7 quintillion 5 quadrillion 225 trillion spadesu 225,000 light-years distant from Earth. In 1999, Kenneth Migdal and Christopher Burke used the Hubble Space Telescope to confirm that it had a single burst of star formation that lasted around 2 billion years that took place around 14 billion years ago, and that the galaxy was probably as old as the Milky Way itself. NGC 6217 is a barred spiral galaxy located some 67 million light-years away, which can be located with a 10 cm larger telescope as an 11th magnitude object about 2.5 degrees east-northeast of Zeta Ursae Minoris. It has been characterized as a starburst galaxy, which means it is undergoing a high rate of star formation compared to a typical galaxy. NGC 6251 is an active supergiant elliptical radio galaxy more than 340 million light-years away from Earth. It has a Seyfert-2 active galactic nucleus, and is one of the most extreme examples of a Seyfert galaxy. This galaxy may be associated with gamma-ray source 3 e.g. J1621 plus 8203, which has high-energy gamma-ray emission. It is also noted for its one-sided radio jet, one of the brightest known, discovered in 1977. Meteor showers. The Ursids, a prominent meteor shower that occurs in Ursa Minor, peaks between December 18 and 25. Its parent body is the comet 8P Tuttle. Chinese constellation. The map of Ursa Minor in the Chinese constellation